Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Sunday evening and the 72 review. It is episode 14 of this series. It is going down pretty well. So welcome to the show. If you are new, joined by the usual co-presenters, Jake, who is Punk Chef 41, and Ian Bradley, who does some work for Over the Bar podcast. We'll have a quick chat with these two in a second. But as normal, please get your comments in and we'll try and get through as many as we can as we're going through the games. Running order for tonight, we're going to start with Ian. He's going to talk us through Rotherham beating Sheffield United and also Rotherham being unlucky at Luton. While we're in the Championship, we'll have a look at Preston, fine defensive record, getting absolutely rocked by Millwall. We'll also have a quick look at West Bromwich Albion's game as well. Then we move into League One, where Punk Chef 41 will take the floor for Sheffield Wednesday, grabbing a much-needed win at Accrington. We'll also go back down to Ian, who's done a vlog for Lincoln at home to Plymouth, so he'll talk us through that one. And then we'll move into League Two, where I'll take the floor for Doncaster beating Grimsby. And then we'll have a look at Stevenage, a cheeky goal to get them the 3 points at Hartlepool. And we might talk about some other games in and around it. But as always, we try to keep it to around 45 minutes to an hour. So with that being said, Jake, the floor is all yours. Tell the current viewers who you are and what you do.
Hello, I am Punk Chef 41. I run a Sheffield Wednesday fan channel, currently at 2,230 subs or close to that. So it's growing, it's doing really well. I also do a podcast with another content creator called That Dirty Bot called Talking Wednesday Podcast, normally out on a Tuesday at 5 p.m. And we just talk all things Wednesday, and I just keep going and hopefully willing this team to go up this season.
It's looking positive, mate, for sure. We've got a couple of comments in before we introduce Ian. Some game yesterday, and we should have lost by about 6 yesterday if it wasn't for Cooper. I'm sure you will touch upon that when we're in League One. Lizzie, watching it on the train back from my friend's baby shower. All the best to your friend in her pregnancy. And anybody on the coach, get them watching as well.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Yorkshire Southerner. Hello all. Good evening. So, Ian, floor's all yours, mate. Tell the viewers who you are and what you do.
60-year-old, I'm Ian, by the way, 60-year-old Miller season ticket holder. I've been a Rotherham fan for 51 years now. But also, I do, when we're away from home, I do a lot of match vlogs for League One and Two clubs. And I've done a belter yesterday at the Lincoln Argyle match, which I really enjoyed, and I think it's come out quite well. So that's what I do. I enjoy travelling up and down the country, and as a neutral, you get a better perspective of games, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Nat's in the chat as well. Evening, lads. Good evening, Nat. Nice to see you once again.
Also, I'll just have this one because someone sent me a message last week going, why is my name in red and white? It's like, well, it's a Donny Rover fan channel, and this is the only channel I allow it on.
What I might have to do is alternate it each week. Obviously, it works for me and Ian. So anyway, you're outnumbered. No, it's staying red and white. Sod you.
Or do a neutral colour. Do a neutral colour. Do like black and white or white and
really
black.
Funny. Someone sent me a message going, why is it red and white? It's like, not my channel, mate.
Yeah, that I'll hold my hand up. That's my fault. Yeah, I might think about alternating it.
I'll leave it. Good.
Probably
tradition.
Won't.
It's tradition.
You've got a fan, Ian, in Nat. He enjoyed your vlog for Wednesday against Morecambe. And ATID is asking for green and white. Do you know what? It is the 72 review, so I think it's worth looking at changing it for a different colour every single week. So that one, yeah. Come back next week and you'll see what colour theme we go with. So let's get into it. We will start with, just give me a second, Rotherham against Sheffield United. So Ian, talk us through this one, mate. Is Ian with us?
I'm here.
The floor's all yours, Ian. Talk us through Sheffield United.
Thanks, mate. Well, I can't say I didn't enjoy this. I weren't actually at the game because I couldn't get a ticket, but I did watch on iFollow, and I probably died 5,000 deaths during the game. But ultimately, I think we deserved it. I mean, on obviously balance of play, chances, etc., we were obviously second best, but we defended fantastically. I mean, I think Peter Kioso, had his best game for Rotherham in there. He were absolutely throwing his body on the line, heading things, blocking things, as was all the back four. And I think the Blades just had an off day. They didn't create anything that I would say were clear cut during the entire 95 minutes. They had half chances. Johansson pulled some good saves off, which he's been fantastic this season. I mean, I can't really fault the guy. He should be Sweden's number one keeper. But going forward, we were always carrying a threat. Ogbenny, he used his pace well. Obviously, we didn't have a target man until Tom Eaves came on, but that was 80-odd minutes. We scored a very, very good goal, which were really lax defending by the Blades. I mean, Ben Wiles on the sort of just inside the area with nobody anywhere near him picked his spot. We probably, and I'm going to get on to referees here again, should have had a penalty when Wiles were bundled over just before half time, but the referee, as they do against us, waved it away. But it all came right in the end. It was our first win at Bramall Lane since 1980. It was 42 years ago. So obviously, very, very pleasing result, and probably destroyed quite a few accumulators on the way. You know, for the midweek match.
Let's not talk about destroying accumulators here, not after this weekend, mate.
Oh, okay, mate, yeah.
No, we'll get on to that one. We've got another comment in. This is from Lee Pearson. He played in the Eves Trust game, a Wednesday fan. He has just started a new channel called Around the Grounds. Does a little bit like what Ian does. Bit of ground hopping, gets a load of vlogs in. They are decent. Like I say, just started. Go over, check him out if you enjoy it. Give him a little cheeky sub, decent. 80 IDs in as well. Referees, Craig Hicks has always been a whopper against us. Wasn't as bad yesterday, but that last 15 minutes was a disgrace yet again. But we've said over a couple of weeks that you were not expecting anything from a couple of games in this tough run that you've got before the World Cup break, and to get 3 points at Sheffield United, it's a good result, isn't it?
And obviously to back it up with a very, very good point yesterday against Luton, I'm going into the break. I'm extremely pleased.
It probably is how you segue into Luton against Rotherham.
Yeah,
it's almost like you know what you're doing.
Sorry. Again, similar sort of game to the Blades game. Luton had the majority of the possession, but we carried more of the threat. We scored very, very early on in the first minute. A good goal from Jamie Lindsay after good work from Ogbenny. We came forward after that. We probably should have gone 2-0 up. But Luton were always a threat on the break. Carlton Morris was always like he is. I mean, he's dangerous around the 6-yard box, but I think we handled him pretty well. Defended manfully again. And we were unfortunate to concede in the 90th minute again, which we have a habit of doing. But it was a deflected shot, and it just hit Luke Berry and sent Johansson the wrong way, which were quite unlucky from Rotherham's point of view, but probably deserved from a Luton point of view. And then the referee put another 9 minutes on, obviously wanting us to concede again, like the referees do. But we held firm, and we got a more than useful point against a club who were very strong at home. So I'm very pleased with that. Very pleased with a point at Luton.
I'm fuming with a point at Luton. This is just another reason for me to dislike Rotherham. They were the only team on my local accumulator that let me down.
You should have cashed out
every week. Well, I chuck £1 away every week. I'll say it like that, because it's very rare that it comes in. But it looked like the footballing gods were on my side yesterday. A lot of 1-0s. Obviously, Rovers romped to 3-0 ahead, so that one came in straight away. But there was a cash out at £130 from £1 and literally hovered over it. And I thought, you know what? No, let it run. It's only £1. And then on my way to Leeds to watch Kaiser Chiefs, Radio Sheffield on, it went to Rotherham, and they told us that it was.
So what you're telling me, you predicted a riot in the car?
Oh, honestly, I was absolutely fuming. But that's gambling. Don't do it, kids.
Yeah.
But no, a fantastic result for Rotherham. Away from home, Luton, a decent side there, for sure. We've got Lewis in the chat. Good evening. Hey up. Lovely stuff. ATID, we need to mention Riley McGee's goal against Norwich, sensational. Some bangers again this weekend. Wickham against Forest, Randall versus Lincoln. Some very, very good goals.
It was worldy competition this weekend, wasn't it? It really was. Looking at some of the goals, it's like everyone had a screamer on them.
Yeah, definitely. I think, obviously, Riley McGee, it was like a scissor kick into the top keeper's top left-hand corner.
What a way to get yourself ready for the World Cup for Australia, eh?
And what about that one of Thomas Asante for West Brom?
It's almost, again, like we know what we're doing because we'll go to West Brom. I like it when it flows like this. It makes my job easy.
We're almost professional.
Is Thomas Asante the lad that was at Salford?
That's the one.
I thought it was. But the name
that's the one.
Familiar.
So, Kyle Barkley scored again. He's becoming a bit of a goal threat for them. But they seem to be pulling the socks up a bit now, Albion, after an extremely poor start to the season.
Oh, come on. They had the captain.
Stoke, on the other hand, are going the opposite way. I think Alex Neil's got problems there.
You know where it's at, Lizzie.
Nice one, Lizzie. Thanks.
The thing is, I think the thing with Stoke City is that the way he went about going in, it was so traumatic in terms of how it was and stuff. I think he needs a big transfer window in January. But the problem is, what can they give him? What have they got? Are they on their last season of parachute payments, or are they all up now?
I think they're all up.
So they've probably brought in someone who knows what to do with not much cash to kind of rebuild. But West Brom, they're starting to look like the West Brom of old. They're knocking it about a bit. They're playing some good football. The problem is they started badly, but I think the timing in some teams of getting managers was superb because it worked. It worked. It was similar to Forest last season. It was around the same time. Let's get a new manager in. Let's just start from afresh. And West Brom, you're starting to see a little bit. Now, the beautiful thing for West Brom, Rotherham, Luton to a point, and Stoke City, to be fair, they've now got a chance to do pre-season part 2. Now, you can have a reboot just before you come back. It's going to be superb because you can get those ideas across then. Because people are thinking, it's going to be a break for these teams. It's not. A lot of these teams are going to be told, get into training, double sessions, because we need you ready.
Like I said before we went on air, I says Matt Taylor has had 3 games a week since he took over at Rotherham. So he hasn't had time on the training field, really. Important time to get his ideas across. And I think this break will give him the time he needs. And it's also might get some of his injured players back to match fitness again.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. But this victory for West Brom, Thomas Asante's goal, overhead kick, absolutely sublime. Did pull them out of the bottom 3. So West Brom potentially turning a corner.
They were never going to finish in the bottom 3. The squad is too talented for that, in my opinion.
It needed that fresh pair of eyes.
They were never going to finish in the bottom 3 unless Steve Bruce went. Like Steve Bruce, I don't know how he's getting jobs. For me now, he needs to just be done.
He'll pop up somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say where I want him to pop up. I hate that man with passion.
And the final game I want to touch on in the Championship is Preston 2, Millwall 4. This was probably one of the surprise results for me this weekend in terms of the actual scoreline. Fleming, superb, gets his hat-trick, and I believe that 8 goals in 11 games for him.
He scored a belter at Millmoor at New York Stadium when we drew 1-1. When we drew 1-1 with Millwall, he scored an absolute stunner from outside the box in that. His form's superb, isn't it?
And you look at it, all shots, 4 on targets, 6 shots in total, and that clinical.
That is, without a doubt.
Millwall are one of those teams at the minute where they'll have a weekend where they have an off result, but you know it's an off result because they look very well drilled this season. And he's a good manager for doing this. He's always been good at it. He's always managed to get teams to go and defend well. And I think Millwall and Rowett are the right fit. I think they just work well. he got that kind of not angry kind of manager, but he can be angry, and I think that worked for Millwall and what they represent in terms of the fan base, but what they represent on the pitch. They play angry at times, and I think it suits them down to a T.
Yeah,
I think sometimes they've had a manager that's been a bit too nice, and that's not been Millwall.
Yeah. I thought this season, they'd missed Jed Wallace because he was a sort of key player for them. But it's gone the other way. They're playing better. They're getting better results.
Yeah.
They're looking a lot stronger.
And I hate to say it for Preston, but Ched Evans is now starting to look like the player of old.
Yeah. He started scoring again, and he started to look dangerous again. But I mean, it was a shock to the system for Preston because I think that's the most they've conceded in one game this season, and probably, and they only conceded 6 before yesterday, something like that. Anyway,
16 in 20, I think. We'll have a look at the table now, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the best defensive records in the country, or in the EFL for sure. Just absolutely torn apart in their own backyard yesterday, and like I say, a bit of a shock result in terms of the scoreline. We have got a question posed to all three of us. You three, where will Sunderland finish this season? So we've got Joseph wanting a bit of a prediction. So we'll start down towards the bottom end of the table.
I think you'll become to mid-table, Sunderland.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'd say top 10, but not in the playoffs. I think probably about 8th or 9th.
I'll say in and around this area, 11th to 13th. I think it's such a tight division. I mean, we'll have a look at it now. Huddersfield, Blackpool, and Wigan make up the bottom 3, but Huddersfield rock bottom on 19 points, but with a game in hand, and then West Brom just outside the bottom 3 on 23 points. But then everyone's in and around that mid-20s point up until you get to mid-table 14th. But then you look at the top half of the table, and there's not many points splitting this up either. You look from 12th, 29 points, up to 6th, only on 31. So
and look where Coventry are now.
Points. Crazy.
Oh God, yeah.
I really hope Coventry does not get hit by the EFL because it was out of their hands. It's nothing to do with them. If you punish them for it, it's a disgrace.
But it'd be just like the EFL to sanction them. It would be. It'd be typical of them.
It's why I kind of had that kind of I fear because they will do it, but it's like nothing to do with them. But you look how tight this is. Like from you can say from 12th, probably 13th, really. Because if Middlesbrough go on a run,
and what a result for them yesterday!
It really was.
Yeah. It's just unbelievably tight, and it's such a tough one to call.
I mean, I know it's.
You think Sunderland will finish 8th, so a little bit higher than what we've been saying. And Joe's come back, or Joseph's come back saying, "I agree that Sunderland will finish mid-table." I think that's a really good first season back in the Championship. It's such a competitive league.
I know it's a cliche, but they always say anybody can beat anybody in that division. I think our win at Bramall Lane emphasises that.
Yeah.
That on the day, any team can beat any team in this division, without a doubt.
Also, we kind of also have to remember today was a Lancashire derby, but Burnley versus Blackburn Rovers, that was a 3-0, and Burnley looked really good. But Burnley's issue is set pieces; they don't know how to defend them.
No,
which is Burnley. He's a defender.
Burnley topping the tree at the minute in first, Sheffield United in second, and then the playoffs made up of Blackburn, Watford, Norwich, and Millwall. QPR dropped off a little bit, but unbelievably tight. Joseph, before we do move from the Championship, I was happy with Friday night. Sunderland won. Was it 2-1 against Birmingham? Birmingham looked dangerous towards the end. I thought they were fairly unlucky, but it was a decent result.
See them looking a little bit more solid than normal. And we've had manager change this week, haven't we? We have Luton Town manager gone and Wigan manager gone.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that Wigan sacked Richardson. Do you know?
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it is insane.
To be fair,
I think it were only a few weeks ago that he signed a new 3-year contract.
Yeah, And don't be surprised if Blackpool do it with Appleton.
Yeah.
Because they are
Yeah,
that kind of
could
club
be,
that would do it.
Such a volatile job to be in. It's a results business, and if the results aren't coming, your job's on the line, isn't it? And that's football. So that is the championship. 20 minutes gone. Lee's in the chat is, before I go on to that one, he said earlier on, I have to jump on with you guys one day, 1 week. You're more than welcome on. We'll try and line it up with one of the around the ground vlogs, and then you can talk about that one and talk a little bit about Sheffield Wednesday. I'll let you and Jake argue the toss over Sheffield Wednesday for a little bit. But QPR haven't won since manager was linked to Prem jobs. Yeah, so
that's true.
Ed's been turned and the form has fell off a cliff. And Lizzie's come in with, hope we get promoted and Blackpool go down just for the away day sesh. Yeah, that'll be decent. So
decent away day, Blackpool. Yeah,
it is.
Moving on to League One. So this is where, Jake, the floor is all yours because we've got Accrington Stanley against Sheffield Wednesday. There we are.
I apologise to the fans, Accrington Stanley fans. I did it on my preview, but I can't resist.
Wouldn't it be good enough to play for Accrington Stanley? Accrington Stanley? Who are they?
Sorry, I can't resist.
exactly.
But it wasn't a great game in terms of how it was, but we played some good football. But Accrington Stanley are a very good team. They are very good. They're very well put together. They're starting to get some injury back. First half, we really did play some nice football, just knocked it about a bit and just couldn't really, for most of it, get it going. But then Alex Myton with a really good goal. He's really come into form now. Looked good against Morecambe. Couldn't play in the cup game midweek where we got a draw against Southampton and then it went to penalties and we took them to penalty, which I'm damn proud of. But we just kept on going forward. But the thing is, with Wednesday, sometimes we look a little bit shaky at the back. Now, one of the things for me, I was just about to say it, well done, Nat. Iorfa is now looking like the player we used to know. But this is because he's now playing as his natural role when he first came in as a right wing back. And he can play that. He got the speed to go up and down. He's been a centre-back most of the time he's been here. But when we first got him in, he was a right back. And Volks just controls that midfield really well. You have a midfield of Bannon, Volks, and Backinson, and it just works. And then if you can take Backinson out and then you put Deli Bashiru, by the way, sign your sodding contract, lad. It's doing my head in. It's this whole situation where everything really helped us. Again, bang on cue. It's like weird for Wednesday have a game where every result went our way and we managed to do the business on the pitch. Now, Stockdale did his usual housery. Someone on Twitter kind of turned around and said, how Stockdale after he'd broken back. And he did go down. He did look like he was in some pain and then got up straight away and jumped around a bit. But you have to do that, sadly. I'm not a fan of it, but I'd be a hypocrite to say that I love it now because it's I'm still not a fan of it, but it happens in football. It's what happens, and you need that kind of you need that kind of experience at the back anyway. Just someone to waste a bit of time, slow it down a bit. Windass went off in a bit of a huff. People made a big deal out of it that he didn't clap the fans and stuff. I'd rather have a player come off the pitch being absolutely fuming, being subbed, than walking off going, "All right, I'm done." It shows that he still wants to go on. So.
Bit of passion.
It was just a really good game. And I thought Gregory could have had a good chance, but we looked really good. That's just a given in any time Bannon play. Come on. But yeah, really good game. Got all 3 points, got out of dodge, and we move on to the next one for me.
I don't know if Nat's... Yeah. I think Nat might be saying that Bannon looked quiet.
Oh, I don't think he was quiet. I just think there's a time where he sometimes gets a bit outplayed a little bit in terms of like people know he's the best man and stuff.
Stick a couple of boys on him.
Yeah, but he's still got that ability to find a pass from nowhere. And I think that's a bit what Bannon is crucial for. But you look at that midfield, it just works really well. And I think at the back, we're looking a lot more solid. Like we had it yesterday, it was James, Myton, and McGuinness. Now we've all found out this week that they may have recalled their loans in January, possibly. And if we lose, especially McGuinness, that will be a real big blow through because he's been really good at the back. And it's weird to see where Atkins and Stanley are because that's not where you expect them. You always think of them being mid-table. It's very strange to see them struggling at the minute.
Yeah, I just had a quick scan down because there's a stat in my head, but I don't know if it's right. So in the comments, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think Accrington have only got 1 or 2 points from the last 21 games, and if you have a look,
they've been on a poor run.
4 defeats and
I'll
a
tell
draw
you something, Jay.
in the last
It was
5.
a good chest trap from Michael Smith to set up Michael.
It really was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Goal, wasn't it?
But yeah, we're normally on this stream pretty much every week saying that Accrington are a very good League One team. They're difficult to beat. You know what you get with Accrington, but they seem to be struggling at the minute. I know they've had injuries and things, but
they got 9 points at home and 8
points
away. And that's very unlike them because they're normally very solid at home.
Yeah.
But they did the game last season. We would have lost. We would have lost this game last season.
Yeah.
And it showed just a mentality shift of being able to play ugly and getting away with it and stuff. Still playing out from the back scared the hell out of me. A better team could have jumped on it and really scored and made it a bit more difficult. But we just got to ground results out and just crack on with it because at the end of the day, we're not gone in.
It's a good job they haven't still got Colby Bishop because he would have destroyed that playing out from the back because he chases everything.
Well, he did. Yeah. He destroyed us when we played him first game of the season. Portsmouth. Yeah. He was really good. I think they miss. I think they're missing some key players who are injured, but I think they've also missed some players due to letting players go. But I still think they'll be safe, but I hope they'll be safe because it's a great ground to go to, and they've become part of the furniture in League One. You always know League One. You know what I mean?
I don't think they're one of the 4 worst teams in League One at all.
Like League One, Accrington Stanley.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Credit where credit is due. Obviously, we're loving his segues into the next games. Ian, this one is all for you. Lincoln against Plymouth. But before you start talking us through this game, we'll bring ATID back in on the comments. And he left Plymouth at 5-12, got home at 23-48. Lincoln could have won by a cricket score, but 1-1 was harsh on them despite Ennis missing an open goal late on. Just a bit of miscommunication between Ennis and the other lad up front. His name escapes me, but 8 injuries and a bench with the average age of 12. Happily take a point. Not many teams are getting anything from Lincoln this year. Honestly, like Lee said, that is some effort to leave at just gone 5 and get back just before midnight. Quality, and that's what football's all about, isn't it?
That's Plymouth for you. They have the longest journey out of anyone, and they travel.
Yeah, they do. I mean, the atmosphere were rocking.
George has just popped in, probably a bit late for Donny game. You're not. We started in Championship this week. We're currently in League One. League Two is coming up shortly. So, but before then, Ian, you went to this game. Talk us through it.
I did a vlog for Over the Bar on this game, and it was quite a good one. The game itself, it was a great game, especially first half. I mean, both sets of fans were up for it. The atmosphere were the best atmosphere I've seen in any game this season, and I've been to quite a few. I mean, both from the Lincoln fans and the Argyle fans. There were loads of noise coming from it. But as for the game, I disagree with ATID. I think a draw was a fair result. I do, honestly. I think it could have been about 4 each in chances. Charles Vernon, when it was 0-0, missed an absolute sitter when he miscontrolled it, when he was straight in front of goal. And that was the first warning sign for Argyle.
Yeah, stats back that.
And then Randall scored a belter after a shot were blocked and it came out to him at the edge of the box and he rifled it in. Great goal. But Lincoln came storming back at them. They scored a very good goal of their own by Max Sanders, who I got the scorer wrong because I couldn't see him, and I actually captured the goal on the vlog. But it was more than, Lincoln deserved it at that time. But it was a cracking first half, and it was full of attacking play from both sides. The second half wasn't quite as good. wasn't quite as attack-minded. I think it was more of a midfield battle. And I agree with ATID. I mean, they made a couple of substitutions. I've never seen so many shirts with 40 odd on the back. You know, young kids coming on for the debuts and whatnot. But it didn't I mean, they only came on very late on. But yeah, probably Argyle could have won it in the last few minutes because Niall Ennis poked one wide when it looked easier to score. But I think Morgan Whittaker got in his way a little bit. So I think it'd have been unjust on Lincoln for them to lose to a late goal. It was a cracking game, a good advert for League One. And I think a draw were about fair.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah, and ATID just said a worldy save from their keeper, from Hardy. It was as well. It was a very good save. It looked like it were arrowing in the corner. And he just got round to tip it round the post. It was a good game. Really enjoyed it.
And cracking to see 1,180 yesterday take that long journey up to Lincoln. But yeah, ATID's agreeing with you on the atmosphere, cracking atmosphere. He's asked for a link to the vlog, so I've popped that in the chat as well.
I was just about to do the same.
Check that out. Obviously, after this show, we're not too far from the end. Lewis, teams like Plymouth, Exeter, Carlisle always travel well. And everything's pretty much far away for them. Yeah. And ATID, thanks. Watch after this and leave a cheeky like, which is thank you.
That's brilliant.
And George, which League One games are left to cover? They were the only two that we really looked at. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about before we look at the table and move on?
Derby getting 3-1. I know it's against MK Dons, but they're starting to come into a little bit of form now. They're looking very good. Oh, damn, I need Claxon. We got them coming up soon, and I'm kind of not looking forward to it because they're starting to play some good football at the minute, and they're starting to do what Paul Warne does very well. He build a team who can play some good football, but the difference is, and no offense to Rotherham here, there's a lot of good attacking players who are just going to go for goals, and it's not built up to be defensive. And Louis Barry, very good player, don't get me wrong, good goal. But MK Dons, again, it's sounding like, speaking to Jonathan, they just wrong team to come against where they're trying to build some form up. But Derby County are starting to play some really good football and they're creeping into it. So it can be interesting to see what happens come around Christmas time.
Should be a very interesting game for sure. So that is League One. We'll have a quick look at the table. We'll start at the top for League One. Obviously, Plymouth dropping points at Lincoln, and a big one. And ATID has put it in. Ipshit being held by Cheltenham. So that's opened the door for Chef Wednesday. Obviously, you guys winning, Jake.
And Peterborough getting beat as well.
Yeah, yes. And I think Lee mentioned it earlier on that gap between third and fourth is opening up. Obviously, with Peterborough, they got beat, didn't they?
And Morecambe very nearly beat Pompey as well.
Peterborough got lost Exeter City.
Yeah.
So the gap starting to build, and what do you think that it could become like this mini little, where you get the gap between 4th to 6th, and then
I don't believe it.
Oh no! I'm not having that. No way. I don't think that's an autocorrect at all.
But yeah, the gap between third and fourth is opening up. The gap between third and second is definitely closing. So plenty of twists and turns left in this one. Portsmouth and Derby make up the final two. Bolton just outside. Barnsley. Should we be talking about them?
That was a good result for Barnsley at Shrewsbury.
They seem to be just chopping away quietly under radar. I think people are talking about Bolton, Derby,
to be fair,
Wednesday, Ipswich, Plymouth.
I think it was midweek or last week, Bolton, Barnsley, and I sent it into the group chat of Ian Everett walking off, and Mike Duff just walking off smiling.
But yeah, for me, I've not heard Barnsley mentioned that much across kind of mainstream media or
quietly
or
going about their business, but this is what Barnsley do very well. This is what they've done in the past. They just quietly go about it.
Definitely. A quick word on Oxford. Obviously, over the last couple of over the last 13 episodes, we've been mentioning Oxford for all the wrong reasons. Had a terrible start, but they seem to have turned a corner. And
that was a good result. That 4-0 against Vale.
Yeah,
and also the old ex-player derby in Bristol Rovers versus Fleetwood. Fleetwood getting a 94th minute equaliser. Joey Barton getting sent off as well.
Yeah,
had a bit of everything.
It had a bit of everything, yeah. It was a really weird one where I was always looking forward to, because I was wondering how Joey Barton and Scott Brown would go at each other. Because if it was anything like the old firm days, it could have been handbags.
Definitely. ATID, where did Oxford 4-0 come from, mind? I don't know. Maybe they've just turned that corner. They're a team that are always in and around the mix in League One. I think they've had a terrible start, and have they turned a corner? Are they going to be that one team that pushes on?
Could come out of this.
There's a long time. I would say
keep doing.
We're not even halfway through yet.
No.
So Oxford could make a real charge.
It's a long old season, isn't it?
What Oxford do best though, don't they? They sometimes start a little bit bad and then just have a little bit of a charge.
Yeah. So maybe that's coming again this season. And maybe those words will be something that the teams at the bottom of the table are wanting to hear. We're nowhere near half. Well, we're almost at halfway, so there's plenty of time to go. Forest Green currently rock bottom with Burton, Morecambe and MK Dons making up the bottom four. Accrington just outside of that bottom four. And then there's a little bit of a gap between MK Dons and Cheltenham. So there's time for these teams to turn it around. Do you think
Green are starting to turn into Donny from last season? That's a lot of goal difference to make up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Morecambe could probably get out of this.
Yeah, they're experienced, Morecambe, in getting out of situations. I do fear for Burton and I do fear for Forest Green, because I think they could be cast adrift. I mean, there were a little bit of a new manager bounce with Burton. I mean, they've got a good 3-3 draw with Charlton.
Yeah.
But I think, didn't Charlton equalise very late as well?
I believe they did.
Yeah.
No, not too late, 75.
Oh, right. I thought it were not too late. But they need to be picking up 3-pointers at home and not just drawing. But although Charlton aren't a bad side, so I suppose it was a point gain, really.
Good thing for Burton, as George has said, Joe Dodo will be getting minutes. So I think their goal scoring problems are one behind them. Joe Dodo, he'll get 20 for you.
Out of that bottom, who do you think is going to go? So if you had to call it now.
If I had to call it now, Forest Green, Burton. I think Morecambe and Accrington. Just with Accrington's run of form at the minute, I think MK Don's performing well, just not quite getting the results. I think that has the potential to turn. So that'd be my bottom four. Accrington, Morecambe, Burton, Forest Green.
I can't see Accrington Stanley sacking him.
No,
I can't. They won't sack John Coleman.
No, the only way he goes is if he walks on his own accord going, I've done as much as I can do.
ATID. I just know Burton are beating us Saturday. Called it earlier on. Naturally, we beat Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday, but we'll lose to them on Saturday. So there you go. Get your money on it.
ATID, you're at home or away that game?
Away.
No, okay, okay. I'll take that one.
So that is League One and Championship covered. We will now move on to League Two. Scores are ticking across the bottom of your screen as always. Let's start at the Seaside, where Grimsby get beat 3-1 by Donny and couldn't make it to this game. We went to watch Kaiser Chiefs last night. They were superb, but followed it on social media and the highlights and what have you. And for me, it seems like we had very little of the ball, but what we had of the ball, we used it extremely well. Getting 14 shots out of 36% possession it just shows that
good going.
We use the ball very, very well compared to the 8 shots to 64% possession. George hit the nail on the head. Harrison Biggins is a new man since Schofield came in, and Lewis as well. We were ace first to every ball, So that is something that we've been missing this season, I think, in certain games. Not winning the first ball, not getting to the second ball. So to hear that we've been getting to the first ball, that's nice. But I think Miller's first goal, potential offside. I mean, we talked about it before we came live. It's splitting hairs. I really don't care at this point. We'll take it.
VAR, so it doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're going to do what that. It was a game where it was an offside goal, and a fan showed his phone to the actual official, and the official actually saw it and then called it and turned around and said, "Yeah, it's offside." It was like random country somewhere where a fan had his phone, filmed the goal, and the referee saw it and then didn't give it.
What a hero.
I can't see that happening in the EFL, really.
Yeah, don't be getting an idea that you'll just get kicked out.
Yeah. Referees won't even entertain you, will they? But no, after Miller's first goal, Grimsby came back into it a little bit. Had a few opportunities, but Mitchell stood firm on one of them, made a really good save. But then Harrison Biggins, probably one of the goals of the day. If you take out McGree's and Thomas Asante's and stuff, I think is the technique to hit it as it's coming down was absolutely superb, and it's just rocketed into the top corner. And then Lewis Noyle is too good. Yes, too right. One of the best right backs in League Two, in my opinion. 2 assists yesterday. The second assist, beautiful ball over the top, and I think Miller's first touch to take it around the keeper is fantastic. And then just the composure and calmness to slot it away, put us 3-0 up, and the game was pretty much dead and buried at that point. John McAtee got a consolation goal back with 10 minutes to go, and they put us under a bit of pressure for the last 10 minutes. But I think we stood firm and deserved the 3 points from all reports. So yeah, happy with that. I've wanted 15 points on the run into the new year. That's 3 down.
Sorry, I just read ATID's comment.
Well, there you go.
You can read it now.
If it were predictable, we wouldn't like it so much, would we?
Exactly.
If football were predictable.
We'd absolutely batter you now, ATID. There we go. This is worth mentioning as well. Massive shout out to Grimsby for the free women's products that they were giving out. I think when clubs do that is absolutely superb. So yeah, happy. All 3 of us are very happy after this weekend's results.
I'd say that, yeah.
It's not often that happens, is it? So we are hurtling towards the 45th minute of this stream. So,
but that's only half time.
And there've been no injuries or time wasting, so there won't be any added time.
There we go. Yeah. Is there anything in League Two that you guys want to touch upon before?
Actually, I do. Yeah, I'm really starting to fear for Gillingham.
Gillingham.
Yeah, because they had that result against Brentford in the Carabao Cup, which were brilliant for them, but they just don't know how to score in league games, and they're playing a promotion favourite in Northampton, but these defeats are just piling up now.
Damaging, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're really damaging for them. There are bad teams in the lower end of League Two, but I think Gillingham are one of them, and I think they're in real danger of dropping out of the league.
It's an interesting one, because when Harry came in, everyone had this whole kind of thing, right, he's ex-championship manager, know what he's doing. If he can't seem to get this working right, it begs the question, who's going to get it to work?
Yeah. I think the problem doesn't lie with the manager. I think it's the infrastructure of the club and probably the ownership of the club. That's probably the real barrier to success at Priestfield. But it does look really dour for them. And I know Martin Gill's in the blood. I think he really is starting to sound almost resigned to defeats.
Yeah. He already sounds like he's ready to start planning for non-league.
Yeah, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Great content creator, though, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic content creator.
But there were murmurings that there was going to be a change in ownership at Gillingham when we played them last month, I think it was. Nothing concrete, but
those things.
I think the problems are much higher than Harris.
Yeah.
The thing is, those
I agree
opening things take a long time.
Yeah. I agree with what Lewis has just posted. Stockport looking better now. I saw them against Sutton United and they looked really good. And they had a 4-0 win again in the FA Cup. And they won again at Newport yesterday. And yeah, I think Challinger's starting to getting them to motor at the moment. They'll look a really good side. And there's another team that could come from mid-table straight up into probably the playoff spots because the form's really good at the moment.
And if you want a quote from Harris has said, I take responsibility as well as manager. I'm in the forefront of the football club, question tactic formation. So he's knowing that it needs something to change, but what can he do?
Yeah.
Sounds like his hands are very much tied, doesn't it? Wow. Is there any League Two games that you want to look at, Jake, before we go on to...
Bradford are just slowly doing the business. They're looking decent. Andy Cook knows how to go in this league, doesn't he? He just seems to be one of those players who just know where the back of the net is.
Wonderful goal from Banks as well.
I was going to say, got Banks a goal, very nice. And Bradford are one of those ones, if they start just picking up points like they're doing, they'll get in that little period. And Bradford have got this weird thing where they're trying to build something with Mark Hughes and trying to change it a little bit. And they've got the right idea. The idea is right. It just, are they going to give either Hughes the time and the patience to turn what he wants to do and get out first time? Because if they go up to League One with Mark Hughes at helms, they could fly.
It'll be dangerous.
Yeah, they could fly, especially with his connection. Because, yeah, it's hard to get a Premier League player to come down to League Two. League One, easy.
Bit more of a pull, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'd say the weirdest thing about Bradford, though, is their obsession over Donny Rovers after our 0-0 win there on the first game of season. Very strange on Twitter.
0-0 win. I like that one.
There's very strange obsessions all over the place, though, aren't there, with fans?
Yeah. ATID, another storming goal from Bradford. Yeah, it was a fantastic second goal. You can't fault that for sure. I think we finished League Two with Stevenage against Hartlepool. I've really felt for Hartlepool in this one. I thought they pretty much matched Stevenage and probably edged the first half in this one. A couple of big opportunities for Umera, hit the crossbar in the first half and then kind of lost his bearings for a shot shortly after that. And they were two big opportunities that could have put Stevenage under pressure. Stevenage needed to continue winning to keep in touching distance of Leyton Orient and the summit of League Two. And the goal, I don't know if you guys have seen it on the highlights.
Oh, I've seen it, yeah. He's
behind
you.
For me personally, when a keeper drops the ball to kick it, is still, I think it's in the rules that it's still technically under control of that ball.
I'm not sure.
This happened to us last season against Ipswich. Bailey Peacock-Farrell did the exact same thing and it did my head in. Just look behind you. It's not rocket science. Or even, here's one, listen to the crowd.
To be fair, this one was at Stevenage, weren't it? So
yeah,
listen to crowd.
But you know what I mean? Like, I think on those ones, as a keeper, you just don't need to. It can be one of those things where, as a keeper, you're thinking, yeah, we're doing okay. Especially at 79, you think, right, we got a draw, maybe, or whatever. Get out of Dodge, get home. Thinking, you think your game's done. And problem is, on that one, you've got to remember who's behind you, or there's going to be a certain thing. It's just, as a keeper, you just look behind and have a look and just cheekily pick it back up again or something.
I think the one with me for this is Danny Rose is hiding in the net.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything to do with like unsportsman behaviour or anything like that. I mean, I'm on the same page as you, Jake. It's a calamity by the keeper. He's got to look behind him. But I think the way that Danny Rose is kind of...
It was sneaky, wasn't it?
yeah, very sneaky. And I don't know, it don't sit quite right, but there we go. We've got Luca in the chat. Big up, Luca. Good evening, mate. Thank you for joining. ATID, worst thing is the fans behind the goal at Stevenage had a higher average age than our bench yesterday. Yeah, the celebration, it's like the Pied Piper, isn't it? But no, it's a win. A win's a win. You take it however you can get it. But yeah, absolute calamitous.
You're acting like you're not top at the minute. Calm down.
So before we finish off, we'll take a quick look at the League Two table. We'll start down at the bottom. Rovers' next game away from home is Colchester next Saturday. It's definitely winnable, that one, surely.
Yeah.
But then we said that when we played Hartlepool away from home and they were bottom, and we got beat 2-1 in that one. So we'll not count all the chickens before they've hatched.
We got still moving out of it, which is nice to see.
Yeah, they're
It is
starting
nice
to pull
to
away
see,
from it.
yeah.
I think the table doesn't lie at this stage, and Ian's worried about Gillingham. 13 points from 17 games. It's a poor return,
Well,
isn't it?
the thing is, Hartlepool, for all their heartbreak yesterday, are capable of putting
they
a run together.
Yeah.
They can go.
I
That's
think-
the thing.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think the two that will buy it and go into non-league comes out of this current bottom four.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harrogate, Gillingham, Hartlepool, and Colchester. Because
Yeah, Crawley have turned a
They've
corner
re-
over the past couple of weeks, haven't they, as well?
yeah, that's right. And Harrogate, I mean, they're in an awful run of form. They got tonked again yesterday at home. If I was to choose two to escape now, it'd probably be Hartlepool and hopefully Gillingham.
So Harrogate to drop down into 23rd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Colchester are virtually in the National League now.
Wow.
Mm.
Plenty of time here. Don't be
Yeah, I
so
know there's plenty of time. I mean, there's a lot of clubs that aren't on any sort of form. I mean,
Yeah.
look our crew have dipped since early season when they started really well. Sutton are on a backward trajectory at the moment.
Yeah.
Crawley have improved though, especially last few
unbeaten in
weeks.
5.
Yeah.
Decent. Moving towards the top end of the table, we've got Leyton Orient leading the way on 42 points. Stevenage.
Oh, the steamroller in it, aren't they, Leyton Orient?
Yeah,
Steamroller
3 points
in
clear of Stevenage. Northampton 4 points behind in the final automatic place. Sorry, playoffs made up of Bradford, Barrow, Swindon, and Mansfield. So
You can get into
9
that,
points. Say again?
You can get into that playoff spot.
Yeah, we're still in touching
Of
distance.
course you can.
Yeah, I think we've changed the manager at the right time. I've said it before. I felt for McSheffrey. Feel for any manager getting sacked. It's not nice.
No.
But progress wasn't being made, and I think we've clearly seen progress under Danny Schofield, especially in the league. FA Cup, we're not bothered about. But yeah,
I would be very interested to see what happened with Salford this season, because they've done more structure change. Like Gary Neville's nothing to do with it now, and like they're becoming that team that, like, you've got the prem players who can run it and this businessman, but it's like, if you're gonna do anything, do it properly. And I think
Is Mickey Wood in charge there now?
Yeah. This whole thing of you're using it as like, we're ex-players, we've got this, and that was the whole pull of it originally. It's like, in terms of what they were looking to do, they were meant to be out of this league a long time ago.
Yeah.
And
they wanted quick progress, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think the more they stay in League One, League Two even, the more they're going to have issues with people like going, is this working? Are we going to see this at all?
And they're no longer Sky TV's little darlings, are they?
No.
They're no longer the fairy tale club.
No,
Exactly.
that'll be Wrexham.
Yep.
That'll be Wrexham when they come up, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Salford against Wrexham next season. That's going to be it's going to be mental. But no, the top end of the table, again, like with League One and the Championship, there's going to be twists and turns in that one, but it's not quite as tight as what the Championship is. Like we say, Leyton Orient currently starting to run away with it. Could do with them going on a poor run of form. They need a blip soon.
Yeah.
But that is it for this one. We've absolutely flown through that one. Normally, I'm looking and thinking, yeah, we're ticking over an hour, but we're just coming up to 55 minutes, which is decent. As always, Jake and Ian, Over the Bar podcast and Punk Chef 41. Their details, links are in the description down below. Subscribe to both of those if you haven't already. Subscribe to me if you haven't already. I hope everybody's enjoyed watching episode 14, I believe we're on, of the 72 review. It's always a pleasure chatting football on a Sunday, and it just gets it out of the system, and we have a happy week then. But no, all that's left for me to say is if you've enjoyed it, please stick a big thumbs up on it for us, please. If you're watching it throughout the week, get your comments in and I will try to reply to them. Thank you for getting involved on the chat as well. Subscribe to all three of us if you haven't already. Anything left for you guys to say before I finish off?
Just to say,
enjoyable again.
Today it was the charity match for Thomas Bird's little lad Rio. By sounds of it, they've raised a lot more money again, and also the Jameson family has also been getting some much needed support as well. I think we just need to remember, football's a game, but there's a lot of people going through other things that they can't control at the minute, and just remember those people who are close.
Perfectly said. I will link Tommy Spurs' Just Giving page or GoFundMe. It's one or the other.
It's one or the other. I can't remember which one they're using.
Yeah, it's one of the two. So that will be linked. Little Rio story is there. If you can give anything, it's going to a fantastic cause. Ian, before we round off and end it, anything to say?
Yeah, for a month now, starting now, I can be more objective because my team's got a month off. So, which will probably give Matt Taylor time to get his ideas across on the training ground, but I can be more objective in me League 1 and 2 sort of summaries. So I'm looking forward to the next month.
Lovely stuff. I hope everybody who watches regularly is looking forward to next week's show as well. Fantastic stuff. So once again, thank you for watching. Thumbs up on it, comments in the section down below, subscribe to all of us if you haven't already. As always, thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next one.